Hello, good afternoon. This is David Soto talking to you, and today is my weekly trade predictions for the upcoming trading week of November 2nd through November 6th, 2020. Okay, and what I like to do right here is I will look at all the major Forex currency pairs on a 30-minute time frame, and then I will compare that to higher time frames such as the 4-hour, daily, and weekly, just to try to give you my analysis of what I think is going to happen this coming week. Okay, so to start with, I want to say that this coming week is a very active trading week. Okay, by that I mean this coming Friday, to start with, is non-farm payroll. Okay, for both the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. Okay, this is where the governments will release all their employment figures and all their unemployment figures. All right, and the market is going to have a lot of volatility during that time period, so please pay attention to this Friday. Okay, also this coming Tuesday is the US presidential election. So we do expect volatility during that time period as well. So I probably would avoid trading this coming Tuesday. Friday, non-farm payrolls are not too bad, but do be cautious. Okay, I would not trade during the release of the non-farm payroll news report. Okay, so anyhow, outside of that, I do expect a pretty smooth trading week. And I want to start off by saying that this past week, I predicted that the US dollar would be going up, which in fact it did. Okay, now this caused the other major pairs such as the euro, the Great British pound, the Australian dollar. I caused all these pairs to drop. Okay, so if we look right here on the chart, I see I have euro USD already pulled up right here. Okay, now if you look at euro USD, we see we have a nice steady drop right here. Okay, this is about, if I get the crosshairs and look at this, this is about a 2,000 pip or point drop in the market. Okay, so that was a pretty not phenomenal, but a pretty solid drop. Now we see the price hit a support here, came back up, and then dropped again. Okay, so now it's sitting at a pretty solid support line. Right now the question is it going to be going back up this week, or is it going to be dropping? Okay, now let's look at the 4-hour chart and kind of get an idea. Now the 4-hour chart, we have a blue arrow, which indicates that yes, this is a very strong support, and this should be going up for most of the week. Okay, but however, if we look at the daily chart shows to go down. Okay, so what does this mean? Okay, this means that in the long term, okay, in the coming weeks, it was going to be dropping. Okay, so in the short term, maybe this week it's going to go back up, but in the long term, it's going to drop. Now let's look at the weekly chart. Okay, the weekly chart pretty much shows the same thing. We have a red arrow, and it's been kind of slowly working itself down. Okay, now we're at a somewhat solid support. Now if we go back to the 4-hour chart, we see that where this blue arrow is, we look in the past right here. Okay, we see the price had actually come lower in the past. So what I think is going to happen is that this is not the final bottom. Okay, I think it might drop some more. If we go back to the 30-minute chart where we started, we see that this happened late on Friday afternoon, so the market was kind of dead, but we see that the price had bottomed out and it has not even begun to go back up. Okay, so what I think is going to happen this week, we're probably going to see more of a range of market this week. I do not expect any big uptrends to develop. Okay, now if we look at the 1-hour chart, okay, we had a blue arrow followed by another blue arrow. Typically, not always, typically this indicates what will happen is the next arrow should be the opposite color, which should be a red color, right? So there have been times where we had 3 arrows of the same color in a row, but that's kind of rare. Here you see 3 red arrows in a row and then finally dropped, right? So here we see 2 red arrows in a row. If I just go back here, we see 2 blue arrows. So typically if we see 2 blue arrows in a row, the next one should be a red arrow. So I think this week that the price will be going up. Okay, but more or less because of the presidential election and non-farm payroll, we're going to see a lot of volatility. All right, so I would not count on this going up too much, but what I feel for me is that if you put your charts on a 30-minute time frame, you should be perfectly fine to both buy and sell. Okay, now right now in the 30-minute chart, like I said, this is a pretty fresh signal. Okay, and so what I would do is I would wait on the market open on Monday, wait for the market to open and kind of see what I'd wait probably about 5 or 6 hours. Actually, I'd probably wait till about the New York session to start trading on Monday, just to see what's going to happen. Okay, and this might dip down even more. I don't know. Okay, I cannot guarantee nothing right now, but definitely you want to wait a while. Okay, for this to hurt. But you should be perfectly fine to both buy and sell, because like I said, I do think that we want to see mostly a flat range of market. I do not expect any big uptrends. More or less, I probably would expect the price to drop again, okay, because the long-term trend is showing bearish. Okay, but we do see the price had dropped here on the daily chart and went back up and dropped again, so it's going to go back up again, but it's not going to go up tremendous. Okay, it's probably going to go up about 500-600 points and then drop. Okay, so for this week, expect mostly flat range of markets. Keep your charts on a 30-minute time frame, and you should be able to both buy and sell. Now look at GBP USD, the next one in line. Now we see the price did end lower than where it began. Okay, but this is not a huge drop like we saw with Euro USD, right? So this indicates that there was a lot of instability in the market. So this is more or less a flat range of market. So the pound and US dollar are really fighting one another right now. So, but the US dollar is still the stronger of the two right now. Now we see here on the 30-minute chart that we have an up arrow and never formed another red arrow. So in the beginning of the week, we should be able to expect that to go back up. Now if we look at the 4-hour chart real quick, we have a down arrow. Okay, so this is a little bit different than what we just saw a minute ago. So this should be going down this week until it hits a, hits a blue arrow, which it probably will. This is a strong support here, strong support here. So I'm thinking that we're going to more or less we'll see the price drop down and then form a support. Overall, we should see a range of market form, which was pretty much what we saw this past week. So I think we will see more of a range of market with a price slowly dipping, okay, which is basically a continuation of what we saw this past week. If we look at the daily chart, we have a red arrow but no blue arrow, right? So, and you can see here the price has more or less been riding sideways for quite some time now, last few weeks. Okay, the price went up, shot up here and then came back down, and now we're at a pretty solid support. So we should see the price in the beginning of the week dip back up and come up a ways and then dip back down again. So even we look at the weekly chart now, the weekly chart, and I've already said this in past videos, but it has an up arrow but no red arrow. Okay, but the thing is the price hit this resistance right here, which is this almost the same spot as this red arrow. So just imagine a red arrow being here. So what we can gather is that long term, in the coming weeks, coming months, this will be dropping. It's going to be a fight though. Okay, the Great British Pound will not give up easily. So for this particular week, we can keep our charts on a 30-minute time frame and both buy and sell. So we could buy on one and close on the opposite arrow, okay, and just repeat the process. Now when you get a signal to buy or sell, I would not just place a trade right away. Okay, I would wait a few hours, or at least about 4 or 5 candles, just to see if the indicator will repaint or not, and then place your trade. Okay, and then close it on the opposite arrow and just repeat the process. Okay, so now we move on to AUD USD. Again, we kind of see a similar format here. We did see the price end quite a bit lower than where it began, so the Australian dollar did drop, and we had about a 1,000-point drop. So that's not bad in a weak movement. That's pretty typical. Now we see the price hit this support down here, and all Thursday and Friday it was just riding sideways, okay, up and down. So you have some small movements, and that's okay. This is a pretty tight range of market right now. Now the question is, will it be going back up? Because you see here it's got a blue arrow but no red arrow. Okay, now if we go to the 4-hour chart, look at this. 4-hour chart now shows you that we hit a solid support, okay, and should be going back up. Okay, now look at the daily chart. Again, so we saw with the Euro USD, we have a red arrow but no blue arrow. Okay, and which at this point doesn't amount to a whole lot, and the same thing in the weekly. But if we look at the daily, we see the price it hit. I'm going to mark it here so you can see it a little better. We hit a solid support right here, okay, and we keep hitting that same support line. So that's what we're looking for to break. If that breaks, it's going to drop to probably, it's not going to be a huge drop, but we see a support right here. Okay, so that would probably be the next level that it drops to. Okay, but that's going to take some time. For this particular week, I do not think that's going to happen. Okay, what I think is going to happen is we're going to see more of a range of market. Okay, now, like I said, there's U.S. presidential elections, there's non-farm payroll with the U.S. dollar. So we don't know exactly what the U.S. dollar is going to do. So U.S. dollar could spike up. If it spikes up, then the Australian dollar is going to drop. Okay, pretty much guaranteed. But what I do feel is that we will see more of a range of market. Okay, I really don't think we're going to see this break right here. Okay, we might. Okay, we might. I'll just leave it at that. But I do feel that it would be safe to both buy and sell using a 30-minute time frame. So like right now, it looks like a pretty good time to buy and wait for the next red arrow. Okay, now how high is it going to go? It's not going to go too high. We see a resistance here. Okay, pretty much the same resistance that hit right here several times. So what I think is going to happen is the price is going to go back up and form a red arrow there. Okay, and then you can buy now, close it when you get a red arrow, and then just repeat that process. Okay, buy and sell both. Okay, using a 30-minute time frame. Now, if these have been dropping the last 3 pairs I showed you, U.S. dollar should be going up, right? And I already said that the U.S. dollar has been going up. So as we see here with U.S. dollar Swiss franc, USD CHF, the price did go up steadily all week. Okay, and we had about a 1,200 point gain. So that's pretty good. Okay, pretty solid trading week. If you had bought the U.S. dollar, you made some money. Now we do see the price had hit a double resistance here on a 30-minute chart. So what does that mean? Well, that means the price should be dropping, right? Now there's a lot of activity this week, so it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens. But if we put the chart on a 4-hour time frame, we see that yes, we have a pretty solid resistance. Okay, it should be dropping. So if we look at the daily chart, again we have an up arrow, so we know long term is going to be going up, and the same here on the weekly chart. Okay, the weekly chart shows to go up. So in the coming weeks, the coming months, yes, this will be going up, and this has been a ongoing battle for the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar is still fragile. Okay, it's slowly gaining strength. Okay, you see it had a big rally here and then dropped. Now it's coming back up, and we hit some resistance here, so it should be coming back down. What I think is going to happen this week is we're going to see more or less a flat range of market. Okay, I do not expect any big uptrends or big downtrends, and again, that's all dependent on what happens with the presidential election. But again, I really don't think we're going to see huge movements. Okay, right now looks like an excellent time to sell. Okay, you can sell now, close the trade when you get the next blue arrow. Okay, and then close the trade when you get the blue arrow, and then just repeat the process. Okay, when you get the next blue arrow, wait about 5 or 6 candles before you buy again, just to make sure the indicator does not repaint, and then you can place your trade and close on the next red arrow. Just keep repeating the process. Okay, so like I said, this week we should see more or less just a flat range of market with the U.S. dollar Swiss franc. Now moving on to U.S. dollar Japanese yen, USD JPY, we see something a little bit different here. Okay, just the opposite. And a lot of times U.S. dollar USD JPY will follow the adverse or inverse relationship to the US dollar Swiss franc. So this is exactly what we see this week. We see the price actually dropped and formed a support here. Okay, now it looks like it's starting to come back up. So the question is it going to be going back up? Because we have a red arrow right here. Okay, hit this resistance, hit it 2 times as a matter of fact. That's why we have a red arrow there. So it came up here, dropped, came back up, and I don't know, it started to drop, it came back up. So that indicates to me that this is more bullish than bearish. Okay, now if we look at the 4-hour chart, look at this. This is the thing that, you know, not bothers me, but alarms me, if you will, because we have an up arrow but no red arrow. So that means here in the coming week or two, we should be seeing this price going back up. If we look from this red arrow to this blue arrow, this came in on October 7th, and this one came in on October 29th. So you're looking at about 3 weeks that it take for this price to finally drop and form another arrow. So it probably is going to be the same thing, same scenario here. From this blue arrow, 21st of September to the 7th of October, here again we saw, you know, a couple of weeks before this price had escalated. So we're going to see the same thing here. We're going to see a couple of weeks, at least 2, maybe even 3 weeks before we see another red arrow. So for right now, this week, we should see more or less a flat range market with a slight uptrend. Okay, we already see the price right here. Like I said, the price dropped right here and came back up. So that indicates to me that this market is more bullish than bearish. Okay, if we look at the 1-hour chart, we have a blue arrow but no red arrow. Okay, so again, the market should be going up, not down. Okay, but it's going to be a slow and steady pace. What I would probably do with that in the back of my mind, okay, put your charts on a 30-minute time frame, but buy only. Okay, just because we know that long term this is going to be going up. Okay, so right now we have a red arrow and it hasn't dropped, but just wait. Okay, it's probably going to drop back down to this level here, is what I'm guessing, and then it should form a blue arrow right around here and then shoot back up. Okay, so more or less we're going to see a flat range market but with a slow and steady uptrend. Okay, US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. Now this is interesting, right? We did see the price gain, right? Obviously US dollar is stronger, but it gains. It started off in a flat range market, and then it gained some, and then the rest of the week, around the middle of the week, it just fizzled out, and it's just stuck here now. So, and now this week is non-farm payroll, so we expect a lot of volatility between these two currency pairs in particular. So what's going to happen this week? Okay, well, we have a presidential election and we have a non-farm payroll, so this will be very interesting. Now we see here in the 4-hour chart we have a down arrow. Okay, the daily chart has an up arrow and the weekly chart as well. Okay, now in the weekly chart, like I've already said in previous videos, that we have a red arrow but no blue arrow, but it did hit a pretty solid support line right here. So we can expect this in the long run to be going up. Okay, so that's going to happen in the coming weeks, coming months, like I said before. So don't expect, like, you know, this week for it to be shooting up. Okay, so what's going to happen this week? If we put the charts back on a 30-minute time frame, we should see more or less, we should see a flat range of market. Right now we have a red arrow to sell, and I think the price will be dropping in the beginning of the week, and then around Tuesday going to Wednesday we should see the price reverse and come back up. So again, I feel that it should be safe to put your charts on a 30-minute time frame and trade from arrow to arrow. Okay, trade both buy and sell basically. Okay, so you know, just use it. Open on one arrow, close on the opposite, and then wait a few candles and open another trade. Just repeat that process. So we should be able, you should be perfectly fine to both buy and sell the US dollar, Canadian dollar. Do not expect huge moves. I don't know. I don't think there's going to be huge moves. There might be because of the presidential election, but you know, just keep an eye on this one. Okay, that's all I can say. But you should be safe to both buy and sell. Just once you place a trade, I would check it every few hours to see what's going on. Set a timer, set a reminder on your watch or cell phone, to, you know, come back and check this. Don't just forget about it. So anyhow, that concludes my weekly trade predictions. If you have any questions at all about these predictions, or if you have any other currency pair that you want me to look at, because there's no way I can go over all these pairs in this video, just hit me up on Facebook. There's a link below in the description of this video for my personal Facebook. Please contact me there first. Also, there is a link for my private Facebook group, okay, and you can request to join my Facebook group and post any questions or comments in my Facebook group, okay. That way myself or other traders, we can all assist you and we can all collaborate as a team, okay. That's the whole purpose of this group. So with that said, I hope you have a prosperous trading week ahead. Please pay attention to the non-farm payroll and the presidential election, and that's pretty much it. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.